Hey, everybody. I'm Coach Rebecca Smith with Complete Performance Coaching, and I'm here to answer a question from one of the members of Perform Happy, one of the moms. She sent a question into the private Facebook group, and I thought I'd bring it live because it's such a good one. And it's one that I needed to look at. Isn't it funny how that always works? So here is the question. This is a gymnastics mom, and she said, when is it okay to use tough love? And so I went, okay, tell me more. What's the situation? And her response was, everything. I am bending over backwards to get her into a homeschool program. Her head floor coach gave her an assignment for today since the coach was out of town, and she came up with excuses to not do it. I never used to feel like this, but I feel more invested in her future than she does. Okay, I can so relate. I'm sure there are many, many parents out there that are, banging their head into the wall going, why won't this kid just take the help that I am offering? What's the problem? I'm giving them everything they need. Why is this so hard? So I immediately thought of positive discipline. And this is something that I use with my 4-year-old. I use it, well, my 1-year-old's like a little teddy bear. She doesn't need it yet. But this is something that's been very useful with my little one. And I'm jazzed that I know about it for when she gets older into this, 10, 11, 12-year-old range, because it's something that I found useful. So one of the tenets of positive discipline is that you are kind and firm. Kind and firm. And the and is the critical part. So for parents who are firm and not kind, this, a lot of my parenting was in this way. I kind of had both ends, actually. My mom and my stepdad did more of the firm, but not kind, old school, because I said so, because I'm your parent, don't ask questions, just do it or you're grounded. That was the one part. And then the other side was, I had this Disneyland dad who was like, oh, we don't want to be grounded. Let's go to Disneyland. That's not fun. So I had both sides, but what I needed and what most kids need is kind and firm. And of course, parents, if you're listening, my parents, you did both, don't worry. But it's easier to give a caricature. So what happens when you're in that old school mentality is that you're creating compliant children. So my stepdad was a police officer. He had police officer friends who could just shoot a look at their kids and they would stop doing what they were doing and they would listen and they'd toe the line. And so he wanted that with me. And I am such a little, I'm in for it with my daughters if they're anything like me, because I was resistant. I didn't feel respected. I basically was completely unempowered by that strategy. And then with the other side, I became this entitled princess. So neither of those are ideal. And neither of those, I'm guessing, are what my parents were out to create. So what I want to create and what I want to ask you is, what do you want for your child? What if you were to come up with one word or phrase that comes to mind that would describe how you would like your daughter, your son, your athlete to turn out? What's that word? And if you're live, type it in the chat. I would love to know. What is that one word that you would like your child to be when they grow up? For me, it was independent and capable. That was the other one that came to mind. Others that I've heard are happy, balanced, fulfilled, productive, self-reliant, responsible, functioning, kind, thoughtful, loving, inquisitive, confident. So those are some of the common ones that I've heard. And if you think about that, if you're doing the tough love thing, like do it, or you're going to get a lot of shame, or you're going to get a lecture, or you're going to lose a privilege, you're going to have a punishment. If you're doing that, is that contributing to the person that you want them to be? So I had this run-in with my daughter. We just came back from camping yesterday. It was my birthday. So I was in this like entitled princess mode and was like, everybody take care of me and be sweet to mom. And of course, what happens? She's just a complete nightmare. We'd been camping for like 4 or 5 days. She was dirty and tired and not into compliance whatsoever. And my behavior was, it was punitive. It was, nope, we're going to sit in the car then. No, we're not going to have any fun. Okay, you're going to go over here. It was just, I was totally in that, I'm the parent, I can't handle this, you need to be different, be compliant or get out of my way sort of thing. And what is that? Is that teaching her to be independent and capable? Is that empowering her and respecting her? No, that's teaching her when somebody gets mad, you follow directions. And do I want that to be who she is when she's 24? Do I want her to just, cow to that mean boss or mean roommate or mean teacher? Or do I want her to stand up and go, excuse me, I don't understand what's going on here. Can I get a little more information, Mom? Obviously she's 4, so we're shooting into the future here. But is the way that I react to her nurturing her into the woman that I want her to become? As of yesterday, no, it wasn't. And so today, the same behavior was coming up, and I was like, all right, girl, let's talk. And so we went and we sat down, and I looked her in the eye and I said, let's talk about what we're going to do here. Let's come up with a plan. What do you think is the right thing to do? I empowered her. I said, this is the way that I'm feeling, and I'm sorry about my part, which was this and this and this. What are we going to do if this comes up again? And she decided that she'd have 3 chances, and then at the end of 3 chances, she'd take a little quiet time. And so I was like, great. And we walked downstairs. Everybody was cool. And from there forward, she's been pretty great because she was bought into the solution. So that allows her to be independent, allows her to be capable, allows her to be responsible. It allows her those things that I want for her. And then on the other side, it wasn't like I just kind of kept letting her beat me over the head with a bucket, because that's another one of the fun birthday gifts I got yesterday. It's about being kind and firm. So it's looking her in the eye and going, this is what's happening here, kiddo. Let's connect. What's going on? And just being able to sit with her and problem solve. This is not okay. Okay, it's not cool to hit Mom over the head with a bucket. But can I involve her in creating that independent, responsible, reliable person that I want her to grow up to be? So that's where the good questions come in. What's happening for you? I see that you're upset. I'm upset too. Let's talk about how that feels. That feels like this in my body. Can you feel that in your body? What could we do differently next time that might be a little bit less crazy and result in this unfun situation? So it's all about those good questions, open, honest, curious questions. Now in this situation with this mom, if you're going like, why am I doing all this? Well, that's a great question. Why don't, chat with her and go, hey, so there's a lot of things that we need to do to get into school. There's a lot of this, how can I best support you in getting this together? Basically saying, hey kid, this is your thing. I want to help you. But here comes the firm part. It's allowing them to fail if necessary. If you think, there's a couple of examples that illustrate this. One of them is the baby bird. And it's not nice for a mama bird to kick the bird out of the nest. It's not nice. The baby bird's probably like, no, mommy, I don't want to. That doesn't sound very good. But the bird has got to kick the baby out so that it can learn to fly in time for its wings to develop and to learn how to fly. And if the mom had gone, oh, you don't want to get out of the nest? Okay, it's okay. You can stay a little longer. Then you have this handicapped bird. Or another example is the little boy with the chrysalis. And it sees that a butterfly is trying to break out and it sees that it's suffering. So it wants to break that butterfly out so that it doesn't have to suffer. And then the butterfly dies because it hasn't built the strength through the struggle that it needs to in order to be that beautiful butterfly, in order to be that bird. So our job as parents is to allow them to fail with support. So for example, if your athlete, your child gets a bad score on a test, the words to use, and here I even wrote them down. I can see this is very upsetting to you. It can be very disappointing when we don't get what we want, when we don't get the grade we want. Period. End of discussion. That's it. I can see this is very upsetting to you. So if there is suffering that has happened because we've allowed them to suffer, because we've given them the freedom to fail, then we go, oh, Pumpkin, I can see this is hard for you. It can be very disappointing when we don't get what we want. And that might mean, if she doesn't move up to the next level because she doesn't get her skill because she didn't do the assignment, if she doesn't get into the school because she didn't write the essay, because she didn't, then she might feel disappointed, right? That would probably be pretty disappointing. And that would be enough suffering in itself that then the whole lecture of, I can't believe you did this and I set you up for success and you did nothing and this is all your fault and blame and shame. And mom, I'm so not saying that this is what you're doing, but that sort of lecture that just piles the blame and shame on top, that is not what creates these independent, capable, happy people. That just poo-poos on the whole thing. So we want to be able to push them out of the nest, allow them an opportunity to fly or not fly, be there to cradle them when they are in need of that support. And it's not fixing it for them. It's not paving the way for them to have a really easy ride. It's being there to support them and go, oh, honey, this is so hard. I'm sorry. That's got to be the worst. And that's it. And then they develop the muscles of resilience. So my long answer is kind and firm, both of them together. And kind is not always nice, but kind is not punitive. It's not shaming. It's not blaming. It's honest and direct. It's involving the child in the situation. It's bringing everybody on board, being honest. And then at the end of the day, after a hard practice, not coaching, not suggesting, just going, oh, honey, that sounds rough. The end, So it doesn't have to be this whole thing. And that way you can be invested in her future by allowing her to get resilient. Because I talked to this college recruiting expert. And I said, what can the moms of these adolescent girls and boys do to set the kids up for success in college? She said, let them fail early, let them fail often, because then they learn to pick themselves up and try again. Pick themselves up and try again. And you don't have to think, if I don't pave the way for her to have a beautiful, amazing, perfect life, she's not going to be happy. No. If you help the child, then it doesn't matter what the road is in front of her. You help her, support her in feeling her feelings, doing the best she can, respecting her, kind and firm. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. We always just bring it back to what's the kind of kid that you want to raise? What's the adult that you want to raise? And then allow that to be your guidepost for how am I going to deal with this situation? Because this one little thing, is it as important as having a resilient child? I don't think so. But of course, I can't decide your family values for you. So that's another conversation. Thank you guys for being here, and I will see you soon. You can feel free to send me questions, Rebecca@performhappy.com, and I'll do my best to answer them.